conversation in the community where it's common to just say, oh, you just need to concentrate on the music and the universe will open itself up to you. It's kind of the secret part of things that was popular 7 or 8 years ago. So let's think about a very specific type of artist, an aligned, authentic, activated artist. And this comes out of a guy who lived 200 years ago. His name was Jung. Carl Jung, I think, or Jung.
Young. Yeah,
Jung.
young. Yeah. Yeah.
So he created something, and this is just a tip of his iceberg, but he created this triangle here, right? And it talks about the weakling on one side and the tyrant on the other side. One guy's passive, and the other person is totally steroid over the top, kind of the bulldozer. And he talked about the correct way to think about it is really this middle option here. The weakling's wrong, the tyrant's wrong, but this third option is the best way to think about it. And artists get wobbly on this all the time. And let's talk about that for a minute here. So as artists and entrepreneurs, there's the weakling, there's the bulldozer, and here's where we want to be: aligned, authentic, and active, right? We're doing stuff. The weakling is very much the hope is a strategy kind of approach, or maybe I'm going to win a singing contest, or the cavalry's going to come rescue me. Not the way the world works. And then over here, the bulldozer is kind of the Lambo bros, totally over the top, kind of a tool. It's bro stuff, right? So where we want to be and where hacking music artists are is we see both those as incorrect, right? We don't want to be passive and we don't want to be on steroids, right? We want to be doing it correctly. So how do we do that? How do we have a clear understanding of how to do this correctly? So last week we talked about the chasm, and let's kind of spend a few minutes there. Most baby artists believe the approach of hope is a strategy, and I'm just gonna be so nice that somebody picks me, right? Put me in, coach. Where hacking music artists put themselves in the game. They don't wait around to be chosen. So how do you do that? So the chasm is something that all businesses go through, right? They can get kind of good out of the gate just based on passion and maybe a little talent. But to convert that into a real career, a 5, 10, 15-year career, there's this thing called the chasm. Businesses deal with this, startups deal with this, artists deal with it. It may look a little differently for a startup than it does for an artist, but the model holds true. So what we've seen and we've built for years is focusing on this piece of a developing artist who's, figured out their music. They figured out their songs. They know their show. They kind of know their production, like all the fun stuff they can kind of figure out for themselves. But now how do we get over into career land? And that's 4 pieces to this answer. First is talent, which most artists can, they're good at what they do. They're going to get better, sure, because they want to win, but their talents, the talent isn't the problem. The training, the technology, and the team is what we build here to get artists over this gap. So we've seen this hundreds of times with the artists we've worked with, of artists who are developing artists and want to graduate into the deploying artist realm. So this is what we focus on, and this is where we're going. Let's talk about the Launch Manager project here as our community members who are part of the accelerator program here. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing here over the next coming weeks. So there's 3 parts of sales. There's the product, there's the offer, and there's traffic. We talked about product and productization. We customize an offer around the product and bundling and different price points. And then thirdly, we drive traffic to that offer. Most artists are focused on product, right? And they throw up a website and pray. Hope is a strategy, right? So we don't want to make that mistake. We want to, nothing sells product like product. So your product has to be great. But we don't want to stop there. We want to think about our offer. How do we bundle it? How do we sweeten it? Extras, bonuses, etc. And then thirdly, how do we drive traffic to that offer? So let's just kind of step through what will be happening for our accelerator artists in the community. We always like to start with the brand review, really understanding the artist, their DNA, how they're different, how they're special before we go forward, right? Secondly, we build out the product suite that is appropriate for that artist. Next, we put together the strategy calendar of saying, like, look, for the next 6 months, we're going to be doing this. Could be once a week, it could be twice a week, different components to it, but there's a calendar attached to the campaign. Next, we step into the order form, the purchase components, and we think about messaging. Again, this is all tied to the brand, that first brand review we do. And next, we think about the live stream schedule. Is that once a week? Is that twice a week? Then we do the work. We go and do the thing, and orders start happening, and then accounting and fulfillment takes place. So this is kind of a stair step of the process. Is, this is an example of what our launch managers do for our artists in Monetizr. And as we think about product and productization, and Chris, this ties into what you just shared. So we have our anchor product, and we like to think about bundles and cross-selling, giving them options. Next, we think about promotions, and this is the lifetime value of the customer. How do we touch them 5 times throughout the year and give them freebies, discounts, special things? Next, we think about gifts, just kind of like, hey, it's your birthday. Here's something from the artist we think you'll like. Then we think about freebies and lead generation. And then we build out exclusives, like, hey, there's 50 of these available. They'll be gone in 2 weeks. Grab it now. So this is cross-selling over here. And then we think about upselling, subscriptions, and then in-person VIP upsells and VIP communities upsells. So we always build out. We never, like, Chris, you're talking about the single product problem. Well, I've already bought the anchor product. I guess I'll wait a year or two until you have another thing. It's like, no, we want to give them, we don't want to assume anything. We just want to give them options and positive touch points to where when we send them a gift 3 times a year, there's an offer for the VIP community. Hey, you may, I don't know if you've missed this, but you may want to be a part of this upsell here or a cross sell.
Right. And that's why, like we start off this module, why it's so important to not just think of the music, because if that is the only thing you're thinking of, how long does it take to write, record, mix, master, and distribute an album? So if your album is your anchor product and people buy that, it's another year or so before you have another thing to sell them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and it allows the fans to get excited throughout the year.
Yes.
Like music is awesome. It's fantastic. It's important. We're not saying ignore music.
Right.
Keep the bar high on your music, raise the bar on your music. And at the same time, build out a product suite around what you're doing. And that's what our launch managers do in Monetizr and Hacking Music. It's like, let's don't just sit on a stool and sing happy songs. Let's build a platform under your music, and so you can continue to sit on your stool and sing happy songs.
Right,
So
right. And it keeps your fans interested and engaged until you can release that next album or
it
next song.
gives them something to talk about. It creates
Right.
positive touch points to where you're not going dark 9 months out of the year. If we're
Yep.
doing a live stream every week on Thursdays, there's something new to talk about. And guess what? It doesn't need to be about the artist only. At that point, you're becoming a human. You're letting your fans step into your world and talking about stuff that, hey, this is kind of interesting. Let's talk about XYZ. Doesn't need to be artist focused only. So
Yep.
this is what we'll be doing inside the community for our members who are accelerator members. And that, I believe, is owning your pipes, all the tools to steer your career. So with that, I am so excited about what we've done and about the community members who have signed up and are inside the community. So
Yeah.